Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're dialing in from. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this content helpful.
Thank you for joining us. Today we're talking about the establishment of the law. And this is the establishment of the law that is given in the book of the law. So we're looking at this chapter from the book of the law. This is chapter 35, and we're going to see what it says about establishment of the law. So I went ahead and summarized a lot of what I saw in this chapter. So first point I got in this is that Isolile has dominion and will rule forever. Isolile, that is the tribe of Jacob, the children of Jacob. We have dominion on the earth, and that dominion is the kingdom of the Most High. It has been given to us, and we will rule over the other nations forever. That has been set, that has been established by the Most High. That is the law. The nations have already been judged, and they will be destroyed. Who are we talking about when we say the nations? We're talking about the other Gentile nations, not Isolile, the other nations, especially the ones that reject the Most High and those that reject Isolile, and those that reject the law. So they've been judged by the Most High. They've been judged by the saints or the ancestors or the tribes, the 12 heads of the 12 tribes. And they've also been judged by the King of Kings, Isaiah. Now, this book of the law also talks about that Isolile would find themselves amongst the nations. Surprise, surprise. Take a look around. We are all scattered amongst the nations. This was predicted, this was prophesied to happen. Now, at this end times, those nations will be afraid of Isolile. Whether they're afraid because they know we are the children of the Most High, or whether they know that we have certain capabilities that they don't have, I don't know, but they will be afraid, and they are afraid of us. Babylon the Great will no longer be Babylon the Great. It will perish. And in this book of the law, Babylon is described in several different ways, but we all know who Babylon is. It's a people who came from far, took us into slavery, into captivity. Some of them came into our land, colonized us, and did so many other horrible things. That is Babylon. By this law that the Most High gave us at Mount Sinai, shall man be judged. Humanity is judged based on this law. Not the Constitution of the United States, not the Constitution of whatever country. By this law shall man be judged. That's already set in stone by the Most High. The Most High also encourages us to establish our places of worship wherever we are among the Gentiles. He says, put up your synagogues. Go in there and teach your children very many other things. Read the law there and things like that. So we're encouraged to pretty much read the law, think about the law, keep the law, eat, sleep, and drink the law, if I would put it in colloquial terms. And when you do that, you will prosper. Last and not least, this book of the law actually encourages us to tell our children to swear and make a covenant with the Most High to keep this law. Even we ourselves are to do that. We just talked about oaths a few weeks ago. We are supposed to make an oath with the Most High to keep this law. All right, now let's get into a little bit more detail in some of this in the actual text. So this is chapter 35, and this is the first page of those laws. I will just cover what is highlighted. Here, the Most High is telling us that He has given us the kingdom, and the dominion is ours forever. And you shall smite the nations. You shall break them, and you shall destroy them. The Most High has judged the nations already. He will not spare them. The saints have also judged the nations that are far and the ones that are near. And they will be facing fires, famines, pestilence. I'm sure we have a lot to say about those things because they're already happening. Then we are told, arise and smite them. The word arise here, of course, we all know what it means. It means to get out of sleep, to wake up, to get up. It's the word in Swahili that we call Amkeni. Arise and smite them. Possess your dominion. Don't sit there. Step up to the plate, arise and take up your dominion. Begin to rule as you are the ones who are supposed to be ruling. Jacob shall be in the midst of the Gentiles, in the empire of nations. Think about historically the nations that have had empires. Rome, the United Kingdom, the Ottoman. So whether it's the Europeans who joined forces later and became the Americans, or whether it's the Arabs who were formerly the Ottoman empires, it says here that Jacob shall be in the midst of the Gentiles in the empire of the nations, and he will be like a young lion in the flocks of sheep. When he goes through, he treads down and tears them in pieces, and no one shall deliver them. So let your fear be upon all men. This is what I was talking about. For now, or for this, is the day of vengeance of the Most High, and of your recompense upon your enemies. It's just very interesting that we're finding this information now, when we are at the cusp of this events happening. And now, daughter of Zion, the land of robbers and the empire of many nations. I think that is talking about Europe. That is talking about, the empire of all these nations that came together to work against us. They will gather their troops against us, but it will not work. The Most High will gather them as if they are sheaves of the floor. It's like the way you just harvest wheat or corn and you just throw sheaves of them on the floor. That's what the Most High is going to do to this empire of many nations. Again, we are told, Amkeni, arise and thrash. When you gather corn or you gather wheat and sheaves, you put it on the ground, and then you take a stick or an item of iron and you thrash out the corn from the sheaves. This is what we're being told here. Let's move on to the next one here. Oh, this one is huge. This one is huge. In fact, it says, Babylon the Great shall perish before thee, for you shall do unto her as she has done unto you. You shall render unto her as she has rendered to you, and reward her double for all her sins. Her cities shall be given to the flames, and the inhabitants to the sword. Her government shall be broken in pieces, and her dominion taken away. That's why I highlighted this in red, because it is key, and I think it's already started happening. These things have begun happening in Babylon. Going on, why will these things happen to them? Because in Babylon, the blood of the saints and the prophets has been found. They've got bloods on their hand. They've done a lot of things to our ancestors. And even the spoil of our children, of the children of the Most High, has been found in Babylon. So they've taken the cup of indignation and of the fury of the Most High. So this is what is due to them. Against her, against Babylon, apostles washed their feet on earth. They said, I'm done with these guys. And the apostles bore witness in heaven, and the testimony and the blood that was shed of prophets. I mean, we don't even have to go far. Just look at what they did to Kimbangu, look at what they did to Toko. Right? Babylon's sins have been made known in heaven. And the prince, the great prince whose throne is as burning fire, this is Isaiah, has judged Babylon, saying, let not her days be prolonged. So Babylon has to face justice. For by this law shall men be judged. Okay, it says in the portion of Joseph. In the midst of the Gentiles shall you establish your synagogues and gather out the just. So the same way we're here, we have established a synagogue, a place of prayer, a place of communing. We have been told in this book that was given way back then to the people of Isolele at Mount Sinai, they were told, when we find ourselves out here, go and establish your synagogues, get together, gather everyone else who is of Isolele. You shall therefore read this book, read this law in all, read it throughout the days of your lives. Talk about it. Think upon it all the days of your lives. Read it, talk about it, think upon it. Basically, make it the center of your life. For by this law, the Most High, your God, sanctified you. It is through this law, by living it, that he sanctifies you, that he sets you apart, that he cleans you, he makes you better day by day. He differentiates you from the rest. By this law, he has sanctified us and given us judgment, justice, and dominion. That's why we are the ones who are in charge. We're given that. And we're told, remember that. Remember that you stood before him. Our ancestors stood before the Most High. Our kings, our princes, their nobles, men, children, wives. And what did they do? They entered into covenant with the Most High to be a people unto him and to obey his commandments and to keep this law, and that he covenanted with us to be our God and to make us a nation of kings and priests to the nations of the earth. So we are the kings and priests to the nations of the earth. We are the only ones who have this covenant with the Most High. Therefore, keep this law and obey these commandments. For when you do so, the Most High sanctifies you, and he will establish you and will prosper. Then now we'll see our vineyards, our gardens, our orchards flourishing. We shall eat the fruit of what we have planted. We shall build houses and live in them, as opposed to somebody else coming and eating that fruit and living in those houses. This is the prospering that we will do. But this will only happen if you remember the Most High, whose name is great and glorious, and if you keep his statutes. Okay? Don't go and serve the god of Babylon. Anyone who does that, the Lord will not spare him. The Most High will not spare him. Today morning I was shown that I have to speak about this. We have to start telling people, especially as we go into this season of what they call Christmas, we have to start telling people to tell the truth and live, or keep following the lies and die. Okay? The truth is that the Son of Man was a black man. He was not a white man. The truth is that a lot of churches, a lot of denominations are still portraying the Son of Man, Messiah, as a white man. That is a lie. You need to remove those idols. You need to speak the truth and say who he was. The Most High made him that way. You cannot change him. If you keep lying, you will die. If you speak the truth, you will live. Okay, enough of that. So if you worship or serve the gods of Babylon, those whitewashed ones I just talked about, all the curses that are written in the book of the law shall be upon you. And the Most High will blot you out from under heaven. You will die. That's what I'm talking about, what I'm talking about. You tell lies, you'll die. You leave lies, you'll die. Anyway, at the end of every 7 years, all of Isolele was supposed to read the law before everyone hearing it. And your children and the strangers dwelling within the gates who have not had it shall learn this law. And you shall all remember it again, shall all lift up your hands. The word shall here means it's mandatory. Why are they lifting up their hands? Because they are entering into an oath. This is just like the way you go to a court or before parliamentary or Senate hearing and you're told to raise your hand. You're raising your hand because you're about to swear. You're about to enter into an oath. So they will lift up their hands and they shall enter into covenant with the Most High, our God, to keep this law and to obey his statutes so that he may prolong our days upon the land. We just went through chapter 35 of the book of the law, and this is a summary of what I just highlighted. Isolele has dominion and will rule forever. The nations have been judged and will be destroyed. Isolele will find themselves amongst the nations, just like we are today, scattered in all countries across the world. The nations will be afraid of Isolele. In fact, we're being told to make them notice us and be afraid of us. Babylon will perish. By this law, men shall be judged. And we've been told to establish our places of worship, synagogues, amongst the Gentiles wherever we are. We're also being told to read this law, think about it, and keep it. Then we will prosper. And last but not least, we are being encouraged to make an oath with the Most High and to make our children swear that they will keep this law as well. So that's what we just covered.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share if you find this content helpful.